Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Happy Monday to you. We're just going to recap here a little bit based on our analysis from earlier today regarding Bitcoin, of course, and just kind of seeing where we're at here with this current support range, and mostly talk about the point of control and potential for a pivot here and or bounce with Bitcoin soon. While I don't think it's like extremely likely to see the price just recover instantly, I do think we're going to see a lot of support in the 61.5 to 62.5 range, possibly even 63,000 here, which we saw an initial bounce, but again, they don't think it's over with its pullback here. Again, we're about 30 minutes away from the daily candlestick close, and oftentimes you see this being like one of the last runs of the day before the price action levels itself out. So we will see here shortly. Obviously, when it comes to back-end data, we want to look at some liquidation, so let's go ahead and pull that up. And I do want to ask, if you could, please just hit the like button. Maybe comment below if you get a chance to. Love to hear your thoughts. What is your position on Bitcoin? What do you think is going to happen next? It's always interesting. So when we take a look at liquidation, if you haven't been watching the channel for a while, or maybe you're new, we got a lot of liquidation at 62,000, upwards about 62, or basically 63,000. When we last reviewed this here, there was this level here at about $2 billion, about 63.3 that was supposed to be swept, and it has been since then. So we got a large amount or heavy concentration that just got taken out there. And we look at the macro here too, we can see once more just kind of a consideration for 62,000 being that area of interest, right? So there's a bit of a gap there. Anything below 62,000, it's a little more sparse, but you could even see as low as 61K. So my personal thoughts based on liquidation alone is that 61 to 63,000 is a very distinct probability. We take a look here at liquidation on the larger side here. We can kind of see, because folks were asking me earlier what this means, these larger bubbles are heavier concentration. So we can see 62,900. There's some longs that are probably going to get destroyed here in just a moment. Okay, it's basically Bitcoin's on its way to that level right now. So it's not great for anyone who's taking a long. Granted, I have a consideration for a long. I'll share that with later perhaps. But generally speaking, between 61 and 63,000 is the area of interest. And again, if you're part of my community, you saw my trade alerts. I kind of notified you of those areas that I'm looking for a long. Keep in mind, don't recommend just taking a long in the blind, but obviously if you structure it correctly with good risk tolerance, it should work out favorably. Okay. Again, should and could are two different stories. We'll see what happens here soon, but I think the key takeaway here is that there's a solid amount of liquidation, roughly between 62.5 and 63,000. It would just make sense to get a quick little candle wick down there at the very least. Okay. Again, I'll post this on our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. It looks a little something like this if you're not familiar. I kind of give you insight on coins that I'm planning to trades with, but for right now, the common denominator is that prices are pulling back for most altcoins, including Bitcoin, so not generally the most favorable conditions to take a long. And if you're considering a short, hindsight's 2020, of course, but shorting Doge was a good call for some of our community members, I know. Then obviously you do not short SUI. Okay, so there's conversations are slightly different, but for the most part, I don't recommend a short at this exact moment because I feel like we are bottoming out maybe for the trading day so far. We'll see what Asia has to offer, but that's essentially the consensus. So let's look here at the daily really quick. And if you missed the weekly summary, I touched on that earlier today. Go ahead and watch that video. But the easy way to understand it is the weekly and the monthly are still looking pretty favorable. For the most part, we're seeing mostly bullish converging factors there, which does imply the overall trend is up. So that's why I'm not super concerned with this short-term downtrend. Because while it is breaking this ascending trend line, kind of giving us we got to raise our eyebrows a little and be kind of cautious and understand that, hey, this isn't, you don't just take a long into this. We got to recognize a few key factors, okay? So let's take a look at the daily, work our way down. We can recognize we're over 50 in the RSI, MACD's diverging, stochastics pulling back. Those are generally, I wouldn't say unfavorable, but they're just momentous indicators letting us know the price is going to be pulling back. Okay, we were over 50 on the RSI. That's generally a good supporting factor. If we look at our moving averages too on the daily, we can recognize that we're over every single moving average minus the 200, which again is that support range. It's not a support level. Please understand that. Some people put way too much emphasis on SMAs and realize that they're just really kind of there as kind of a guide of where we should be in the overall sense. Now that we're testing that, we got to respect the fact that we could pull back further, which we're expecting. But again, the 20-day, the 50-day SMA, those are more important ones, kind of letting us know the short-term trend lines, and we're still over that, which is good. Take a look at the 4-hour. We can summarize here as well. This is a perfect case scenario for a bounce. Again, anytime in history I've noticed this is a very consistent thing in trading. The 4-hour time frame, RSI hits 30, money flow index hits 20, we're due for a slight correction. And what I mean by correction is just we should experience a bottom out here and the price should recover within reason. I don't expect the price to go way back up to 67,000 or 80,000, whatever the heck is people saying 100,000 in October. Come on, let's get real. The probability is pretty low, but this is a very, very good indication letting us know that we're hitting our tentative bottom, okay? Just is very tentative for the moment. It'll probably blast through that, make me look like an idiot or a liar, which happens all the time. But in consistent trading, I've noticed for the most part, that is a very common, valuable thing that that I've noticed tends to bounce. Anyways, a lot of times it just leads to a dead cat bounce that keeps going down, but I would say that we're getting closer to our overextended state there, and that's kind of a sign letting us know a reversal is coming. And keep in mind, reversals are not monumental. It could be very simple and subtle. But at this point here, the daily time frame is, as we've looked at it so far, pretty decent. 4-hour time frame is obviously telling us we have a bearish divergence minus a potential bounce. And the hourly time frame here is letting us know we have a continuation probable. Everything is indicating the price is going to go down, okay? So again, I would prepare yourself for the 61.5 upwards of 63,000. That's just generally speaking the overall scenario here with liquidation to the downside that's left. Again, we start to see a lot of sparse, there's no real liquidation in the 60 to like 60.5 range. So me personally, worst case scenario, I think low 60,000 could be a possibility, but strong likelihood we see some support at 61.5 to 63,000. Because you got to recognize, folks, too, the macro point of control is 63,000. Okay, so we're right there in that support range at this point, and it's probably a very strong likelihood that we see some support coming up here in the next 2,000 to 3,000 for Bitcoin. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I described that correctly. If not, obviously feel free to ask any questions, reach out, direct message me. Check us out on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. I'll have our playout chart updated here for you shortly. And if you want to be part of our community, cryptocash.tech is a site, link down below. We have a lot of new members coming over, so I just recommend you read through my signals guide, which is here available in our members only section, so you understand specifically how I structure my trades, the best way to approach that. Feel free to reference our premium section here where you can see all of our profit targets lately. Please understand, folks, we do hit occasional stop losses, okay? It does happen, and a lot of times I'll close trades out early before it happens too. So again, that's kind of where we're at there at that point. Anyways, that's all I got for time. Got to let the dog in. Appreciate your patience. Hope I wasn't too loud. We'll see you in tomorrow's video. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks again. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.